there's the intro card for you. So as you can see, we are going to be seeing ODM Loupi taking on Eumaies, and it's going to be Dark Elves versus Dwarves, round one of their best of three. And let's go ahead and see what they brought to the field of battle for us, shall we? So, starting with the Dwarfs, who have some Vanguard action going on here. Looks like we're going to be seeing Rangers and Bugman's Rangers. We're going to have some miners with blasting charges supporting them. Got Norgrimling's Ironbreakers back here with another 2 Rangers to support them, and I love this staggered approach. So Dark Elves come rushing in. They have this line to fall back to. I also have a Gyrocopter with a Brimstone gun up in the air. And then for the meat of the army, we're going to have a front line of Dwarfs with great weapons. The Dwarf Warrior is a Dragonfire Pass, and a third Dwarf Warrior with great weapons. Other than this, we're going to be seeing Thunderers. Looks like 1, 2, and 3 going to make up the mid-ranged firepower of this army. We have Dwarf Warriors in the rear. And then for the leadership, it looks like we're going cheap. Well, not cheap in quality, but cheap in numbers. You know, Rune Lord or Rune Smith to support him. We're going to see the... That made no sense what I just said. But anyways, Grombrindle, the White Dwarf, going to be on the field, ladies and gentlemen. He has magical attacks, heavy weapon strength, armor-piercing damage. He's got the Flash Bomb, and Grombrindle has no fear. For the Dark Elves, going to be seeing some Shades up front, 1 and 2 of them. Got 3 Reaper Bolt Throwers, a gamble which may pay off here considering there's no counter Dwarf Artillery here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 units of Bleak Swords, make it 5. And then we're going to have 2 Hargoneth Executioners in the back line, just waiting in the safety of the shadow of this hill here before they push forward. They don't know if there's artillery. They didn't know what was going to be on the field of battle, so playing it safe with that very, very valuable anti-infantry power in the back line. For the monsters and heroes, we have a Manticore up in the air. Also going to be seeing a Sorceress of Fire, going to be bringing... Oh my goodness gracious. Fireball and Flamestorm, along with the Darkstar Cloak and Kindle Flame. And then to lead this army, we have a High Beastmaster on top of his Manticore, going to be bringing the Tormentor Sword as well as the Whiplash. And then we have the Featherfoe Torque. So, Gyrocopter, watch out. Let's kick it into full speed and see what happens. Reaper Bolt Throwers immediately targeting these Rangers, and they're actually getting some good damage in. We'll see what the Dwarfs do to counter. It looks like the Manticores are going to be pushing forward to apply some terror and pressure to these Rangers. Going to see a Flamestorm going down here on top of the Bugman's Rangers, initially catching them and doing some good damage. We'll see if it stays on top of them, and oh my goodness gracious, that Flamestorm is doing a surprising amount of damage. And it's even going to hit some of these Rangers as they're retreating. And my oh my, that Sorceress getting 15 kills on the Dawi. No small feat, but yeah, interesting to see the Flamestorm and actually seeing it doing some damage too. Over here, it looks like it even caught a unit of Dwarf Warriors with great weapons. And I'm wondering if that was Overcast, because it is still going. Oh my god, there's no way it's going to hit this Thunderer. Oh, it is. What? Oh my goodness. That Flamestorm, everything it touches just melts away. And wow, what value. Up here in the air, meanwhile, we have the High Beastmaster and the Feral Manticore going after the Gyrocopter with the Brimstone gun and doing a lot of damage, but the Dwarf Rangers are starting to dish out some damage in return. And balance power going to be slightly in favor of the Dark Elves, but overall quite even. Alright, Eagle Call Bolt Thrower. Scatter Shot is on, and they are shooting the Thunderers and doing quite a lot of damage, knocking them over, disrupting their movement and their fire. And yeah, Dark Elves are looking pretty strong right now. Norgrimling's Ironbreakers pushing forward, but getting charged by the Manticores. And now we have Hargoneth Executioners coming forward. Some blasting charges getting thrown. We'll see if they can get a full volley off. And oh, there it goes. Those blasting charges doing some serious work in disrupting the charge of the Hargoneth Executioners. Norgrimling's Ironbreakers are just some of the best infantry in the game. So damn tanky. But the Hargoneth Executioners are also some of the best infantry in the game. But it does look like those blasting charges have set them off to a bit of a deficit when it comes to combat. Over here, another Flamestorm. And oh my goodness. Once again, Flamestorm. Look at the damage it's doing. This is a blast to watch. It's one of the most cinematic spells in the game, and I dare say I've never seen it get this much value before. Oh my goodness gracious. I'm not paying attention to anything else in the battle, but that's just because this is too fun. Flamestorm, you vicious, vicious son of a bitch. Over here, a fireball going down into him too. And it does look like that initial one was overcast, because this last one didn't last nearly as long. Hargoneth Executioner's doing some good damage, but looks like they're going to lose that fight in the long haul. Those Reaper Bolt Throwers are doing so much work for the Dark Elves. They definitely deserve some MVP medals after this, if they survive the day. Terror kicking in on some Dwarf Warriors that look like they're about to compromise the backlines. The Shades, with dual weapons, which I just now noticed on one of them, are still healthy and in the backlines, and that armor-piercing power is going to become more and more valuable as the battle progresses. Going to see the other unit of Hargoneth Executioners, which I actually lost track of, and it looks like they just went straight into combat with the Dwarf Warriors with great weapons. They've taken some damage, though, and Grombrindle the White Dwarf is among them, cleaving away, but looks like the balance of power is continuing to go ever so slightly in the Dark Elves' favor. There's a sliver of red in that balance of power, but the Dwarves have to act quickly and, you know, get some big plays down if they have a chance to win this. High Beastmaster is very low on health, so there's a chance the Dark Elves could lose their leadership here. But Grombrindle the White Dwarf is also taking a lot of damage in combat with these Hargoneth Executioners. Alright, the Rangers are continuing to fire away. We'll see what the Dwarves can get going here. Norgrimleen's Ironbreaker is also pushing up on the left flank, doing very well here against the Bleak Swords. And if these Rangers can start laying in some serious damage on the back lines, maybe they can get something done. But the big problem... Ooh, a nice volley of blasting charges going off here. But Grombrindle the White Dwarf has just been in bad combat. And I think maybe the capabilities of him were overestimated because, yeah, he doesn't want to be in sustained combat with Hargoneth Executioners. And you can see he's down to 90 HP, so I doubt he's going to be back for the rest of this fight. And losing Grombrindle here is definitely going to be very, very critical, and it's going to hurt a lot as the battle progresses. But good news for the Dwarves is the Reaper Bolt Throwers are almost out of ammunition, so bad news, they used all their ammunition. Good news, they won't be shooting you anymore. Warriors of Dragonfire Pass pushing forward, chasing these Shades with dual weapons. But we're going to see the Lord diving into combat, pinning him in place, and the Shades look like they're just going to turn around and open fire on top of the Gyrocopter now. A very nicely played battle on both parts here. I want to be very clear. I think this Dwarf army was very well played, and you know, it's you can see by how close it is right now. But I guess I'd be surprised to see. Oh, but ow! As I say that, look at that. The High Beastmaster, he's routing now. Reaper Bolt Throwers are out of ammunition or compromised. Rangers are still online. Have some ammunition. Grombrindle has no fear, just got popped, so they're all unbreakable now. Dwarf Warriors and Warriors of Dragonfire Pass are chasing down the Shades with dual weapons. I don't know. I don't know. The Manticore is still quite healthy, so the Dwarves need to take care of it, but it looks like they're going to be able to take care of this unit of Hargoneth Executioners. No small feat. Beastmaster is coming back online. I mean, really, this is a very close battle. If the Dwarves get some critical routes here, then they could pull this off. It would be a very astonishing comeback, but, you know, Norgrimleen's Ironbreakers are on the field. They're very, very healthy. Or not very healthy, but very, very high leadership, very tanky. Not going to be easy to deal with. Feral Manticore is really, I think, the main concern for the Dwarves right now, is it's causing terror on a lot of their ranged units at the moment. Shades shooting down the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass. They're pushing forward while the Great Weapons pull back. I like that decision. These guys have shields, so they can at least have some chance of blocking the shots from those Shades. But yeah, I mean, at this stage, both players just regrouping very tattered remnants of their armies, trying to bring it home. Over here, we have the Sorcerer of Fire in combat with the Rangers. We'll see how that goes in just a moment. Over here, Rangers chasing these Dark Elf units off the map. A very wise decision, making sure they do not regroup and come back to fight. Warriors of Dragonfire Pass did get killed off by the Shades of Great Weapons.
No mercy!
And it looks like the Fire Sorcerer is also getting ready to rout in the balance of power. Look at it. It's in the Dowie favor now. Could they do this, chat? Holy hell. With that Supreme Sorceress, or that Sorceress routing, that's a huge loss to the Dark Elves. Manticore may not be able to pull this off by itself. Because the Norgrim's Ironbreakers, that's going to be the ace in the hole for the Dwarfs if they can survive. If they can keep army losses from kicking, if they can regroup, Norgrim's Ironbreakers may be the anchor that leads them to victory. Oh no, Rangers getting discovered by the Feral Manticore, so now they're compromised, and they're going to get shattered, actually, so there's a pretty big loss there. Over here, we do see the Shades. I'm not sure if they're... Yeah, they're chasing these great weapons to fulfill the attacking order and also to make sure they don't come back. And now the Manticore is just coming in play. And this is where... Yeah, the Dowie have to stay very closely grouped, but then they have to worry about a terror route. But they also don't want to be getting picked off piecemeal. I just don't... Oh, this is a tough call. Like, what do they do here against this Manticore? There goes a Fireball, too. And that Fireball... Oh, it's going to hit the core of the dwarf formation. And a couple of units are going to start routing. And now it's just the Norgrim's Ironbreakers really here against the Manticore. And it's going to be a tall order for them to kill it off. Rangers are coming into combat now. The Sorceress of Fire playing it smart, staying close enough to give a leadership bonus to the Feral Manticore, but far enough to where she doesn't get killed or routed. And, oh, Terra kicking in, and it looks like the Dark Elves are going to pull this off. That Feral Manticore, the ace in the hole. Rampage kicking in on the Feral Manticore. Oh my god, if this Manticore routes, the Dwarfs have it. And look at that. Groups of units regrouping. They're regaining their leadership. Norgrim's Ironbreakers have better leadership than Manticore now. Oh no, they're running away from it. What the hell? It must have been a misclick. That's when you have to keep the combat up. It was about to rout. Alright, there they go. Feral Manticore. Can it survive this? Rangers diving into the Shades with dual weapons. They should lose that fight quite handedly, but if they can buy some time, it may be worth it. Over here, we're going to see the Sorceress running away from the Dwarf Warriors and the Rangers. The Manticore still hanging in there. And this fight is just absolutely insane. Oh my god, now we have the Shades coming in. Oh my god, there it goes. The Feral Manticore is routing, but the Shades have one more volley going right into the Norgrim's Ironbreakers, who are going to face it. So using the, getting the best value out of their shields. And now... At this point in the battle, if it were live, I would be selling the Dark Elves. They need to engage, but it looks like they do have some Bleak Swords actually coming in to get in combat, so this is legal. Ironbreaker is going to be throwing blasting charges by the looks of it. Oh, Sorceress of Fire getting in combat. Can they do something? Uh-oh, here comes the volley. Oh! The Dwarves still have some tricks up their sleeves. One of those guys just getting completely decimated. But now the Manticore is getting the rear charge. The Norgrimlings Ironbreakers are beginning to waver, and there's the rout and the loss. Holy hell, Eumaies. That was a beautiful game, but Dark Elves are going to pull it off in the end. A wonderful first round of this best of 3 series, guys. Marked his day in the book. That was a very good game. Yeah, well played to both of them. Shade's getting some crazy good work done. Hargneth Executioners, always nice to see, and I think they're the only reason the Norgrimlings Ironbreakers ever got down to that low of health. So without them, I think the Dwarfs would have won that. 187 kills on the Sorcerers of Fire. MVP to the Dark Elf army goes to the Supreme Sorcerers, or sorry, I keep saying Supreme, but to just the regular Sorcerers of Fire, who continually got a ton of work done with a Flamestorm. Beautiful stuff. I need to put that Flamestorm as a play of the day up on the YouTube channel. So, yeah, Loupi, feel free to bother me until I do that. That was awesome. And to Eumaies, I mean, this Dwarf army was played to the max. I loved it. I think the biggest mistake there was Grombrindle. I understand the logic, like I want to get in there and kill some elite infantry with Grombrindle so I can let these Dwarf Warriors survive, but I just think he should have stayed as far away as possible from the Hargneth Executioners. I think that was just going to be the only thing that he really needed to worry about there was them, or maybe Shade shooting him down, but if he maybe would have been with the Norgrimlings Ironbreakers or something, just let the Hargneth Executioners crush the Dwarf Warriors with great weapons. That's what they're there for, to lose for the most part. They can beat Bleak Swords, but they're not going to win against Hargneth Executioners. And I think that would have worked out a lot better, because keep in mind, the Dwarfs made it that close and stayed that late in the game without a leader. If the leader was there, very high probability they would have won. Not only because Grombrindle has a smoke bomb and, you know, he can punish the Manticore, but possibly even more importantly, because if Grombrindle has no fear was popped at some later stage of that game, that makes the entire Dwarf army unbreakable, and that's where I think they could have pulled out a late game victory there. But I mean, really can't criticize Eumaies here other than to point out some of those small mistakes, and I think overall just beautifully played to him and to Loupi. That was a wonderful first match. Let's update the scoreboard and see what happens in round 2 between these two guys. Here we are. Going to be watching ODM Loupi with the High Elves taking on Eumaies and the Empire. This is round 2 of their best of 3, and it is currently match point for ODM Loupi. Alright, and here we are loaded into the battle. We'll throw into some slow-mo really quick. Let's start with the Empire army. And oh my goodness. Oh my goodness gracious. We're going to see 5 flagellants, including the Tattersouls. So you better pray to God there's not a lot of High Elf archers on the fields, but these guys are unbreakable. A lot of HP to chew through for the High Elves, and yeah, we'll see how they end up working for the Empire. As if that wasn't enough unbreakable units, we have the Sigmar Sons in the center, and 2 swordsmen supporting them. And then, aside from that very large infantry line from the Empire, we're going to be seeing, oh, yes, I love it. We have 2 war wagons in the forest. These are just the regular variant with the handguns in the back. And it looks like we're going to have a 3rd one over here. Empire Knights will be on the right flank supporting that war wagon, and they're currently hidden, so we'll see what they wind up doing. We have the Royal Outdwarf Griffites up here protecting the left flank, and then we have an Amethyst Wizard on a Pegasus up in the air here. I guess that's a bit redundant if I say Pegasus. We got a Spirit Leech on top of him and nothing else. Gonna have a Warrior Priest down here on foot. The Warrior Priest will be bringing the Hammer of Sigmar and nothing else, but gotta carry that book into battle. Gotta keep his book of prayers with him at all times. Looks like we have a General of the Empire, just a generic one, a very interesting Empire build here from Eumaies, and he's going to have a Pegasus and nothing else but hold the line. So that's going to be it. And this Empire army, quite unorthodox, and we'll see if it is enough to get through the High Elves. Now, for the High Elves, starting with some cheeky Vanguard, we have some Illyrian Reavers just facing off the map. Like, I really hope nobody sees us. If we aren't looking at them, they can't see us, right? Then for the main part of the army, they're going to be deployed back here on the defensible high ground. Going to have 1, 2, 3 units of spearmen. Going to have 2 rangers. We're going to have sword masters of Hoeth in here. Now these guys should have a field day with all the cheap infantry they have to chew through. And then backing them up, we are going to see a healthy number of archers. We're going to see 3 units of Lothern Sea Guard. And then we're going to have 2 units of Sisters of Averlorn with their magical fire damage missiles. So this could be painful for the Empire infantry, because even if they close the gap quick, I don't think they're going to win combat against the High Elf infantry here. And we're also going to be looking at Rahagra's Pride, the Regiment of Renowned War Lions of Trace, deployed on that right side of the battlefield. And then we're going to have a Mage of Light Magic, Net of Mintok, with nothing else. We have a Mage of High Magic with Soul Quencher, as well as Apotheosis, riding a horse. And then we have a Lithanar. He's going to be bringing the Moonbow and Mislead. So let's pop it into full speed and get to the fight. Warrior Priest getting targeted right now. Soul Quench looks like it may be going for him. Oh my god, the damage is quite real there, and looks like we're going to have the General of the Empire coming out to play, but probably not going to have the best luck staying on top of this Mage of High Magic, although a Spirit Leech just did go down on top of her from the Amethyst Wizard. Alright, General of the Empire getting shot by the Doppelganger here, while the real Lithanar is running away. Oh no, just kidding, this is the real Lithanar, and the decoy is the one that's hidden. Ooh, it fooled even me. So, War Wagons pushing forward. We'll see what they wind up doing. For now, it seems like they're keeping a respectful distance, and the Empire is just going to be pushing forward rather methodically. I like the approach here. Empire not rushing in on a single flank or anything. You can see they're taking their time. They have a right flank going here with some Cav and Unbreakable Infantry, a center, and it looks like they've even peeled some units across for a left flank action as well. So, Empire taking its time on the approach. And they're going to want to make sure they get in combat with units pretty much all at once, if they can, because they do not want to be doing a full frontal assault with a bunch of archers ready to just shoot them down the pipe. Swordsmen probably aren't going to survive this combat, but it's probably a necessary sacrifice. Net of Mintok going down on top of the Amethyst Wizard, and it looks like some of the archers are going to turn their attentions to him now, and General of the Empire are going to get back up in the air in a hurry. Alright, it looks like these War Wagons are getting into position to fire, and they can do some good damage here with these flank shots into the Lothern Sea Guard, so we'll see what they do. Amethyst Wizard already routing after some nice focus fire from the Sisters of Averlorn. We are going to see the Royal Altar Griffites diving into combat. We have Flagellants diving in, and oh no, a big misplay here for the Empire, in my opinion. They needed to send this other unit of Flagellants around the flank. They cannot afford to blob up units. Over here, same thing kind of happening. It looks like he's microing them around now. And then these guys definitely need to be going this way. And yeah, the Empire just needs to be spreading out their infantry and getting on top of this ranged power, because that is the killing power of the High Elf army here. They have some infantry killing power, they have a little bit of cav killing power, but the bulk of their resources are invested in archers. So, Soul Quench going down once again. This time it looks like it may have missed, but as you can see, the War Wagons at the moment are not doing the best. You see that there's Illyrian Reavers getting on top of them, archers shooting them down, and the Empire just does not look like they are successfully shutting down the High Elf ranged power before it kills their army. This is a very nice High Elf build, very well executed, and I just don't think the Empire was really prepared for it. I wouldn't go so far as to say it was lost in the drawing board by any means. I think there's ways for them to win this, no doubt, but I just feel like this much infantry against the High Elves isn't a surefire way to go about the fight. especially with the introduction of Rangers to the High Elf roster. And the Flagellants in particular, maybe a couple. I like Flagellants a lot in a lot of matchups, but you gotta make sure you're aware that they are risky against High Elves because of their susceptibility to getting shot down by cheap archers. The War Wagons still online. Looks like they have, oh wow, a whole 8 models still online, so they've only lost one of the War Wagons, and similar to artillery, you have to think about War Wagons in terms of how many models they have left. Or, I guess, similar to chariots, I should say, even though they aren't the best of melee chariots. Over here, General of the Empire getting focus fired by these Sisters of Averlorn. Swordmasters of Hoeth haven't even been in combat yet by the looks of it. They're just sitting up here waiting like, let us know when you're ready. Alright, you ready? We're going to come in then. And then they're going to start mopping the floor with these Flagellants. Rangers not looking too healthy. Empire Knights getting some nice damage on top of them. Rahagara's Pride is starting to rout. You're going to see that the War Wagons are actually starting to get the damage in. They just needed some more time, but I just think it's going to be too little too late, and it looks to me like the High Elves have this in the bag. But 2 wonderful games from 2 wonderful players. Eumaies, better luck in the next season, my friend, and a big congratulations to ODM Loupi for some nice battles. Oh wow, they haven't lost any models, but that's okay because they still don't matter. I just want to make clear, because there's so many haters of War Wagons and War Wagon mortars, that I do think they can have a place in the meta. They're just memey. But yeah, wagons are good, but they don't always work out. I love wagons. Okay, cool. I'm glad I have some supporters in here. Needed Hellstorm. Always need the Hellstorm rocket battery. But no, that was a good series. The first battle in particular, I thoroughly enjoyed. So looking at the post-battle screen here, I mean, I think it's pretty clear. I don't have too much to say about this game other than, you know, really well played to Loupi. I think Eumaies had a very interesting army. I just don't think it panned out for what he went up against. It almost, to me, seems like he was expecting dragons. Because this army, I could see working against dragons. War Wagons are good at shooting dragons to death. You have the Demogryph Knights to get on top of them if they land on the War Wagons. You have the General of the Empire to just fly around and outrun the dragons in the air and maybe dive in for some, you know, rear shots when he gets the chance. Amethyst Wizard for the Spirit Leader. I mean, maybe that's what it was, but yeah, either way, I just think this is far too much of an investment into infantry for this Empire army. I mean, these guys are expensive. You have 700, 400, 400, so already you're looking at, what, 1,500 spent on the swordsmen. And then you have the Tattersouls, which I think are like 825, and then 600 pop from there, so already you got 2,400 points in generic flagellants, and you stack that on, that's over 3,000 points in flagellants. So you're talking about like over a third of the army's investment just being infantry, which I guess isn't a bad thing when you say it like that, but you could have gotten, you know, another 4 spearmen in this army for sacrificing 2 flagellants or something like that, and I think then you would still have 4 unbreakable units, but I just feel like it was diminishing returns with the amount of flagellants he brought here. The unbreakable infantry is super useful and very good to keep the leadership up for not unbreakable infantry, but numbers matter, you know, as Napoleon said. Quantity has a quality all of its own, and if you would have ditched some of the flagellants, I think you could have brought a lot more like spearmen and things like that. And, you know, not saying that's the way to go, but either way, it's points to be spent elsewhere in this Empire army, or I think it could have been utilized better. ROR again is the only one you like. Yeah, dude, the Black Lions are pretty awesome. 875. Thank you, Lux. I wish Napoleon would beat me up. All right, guys. Well, great games to both of these guys. A good, clean 2-0 victory, and 2 of my fellow Americans already knocked out of the tournament like that, guys. It hurts, man. It hurts. America. Brr.